Of the airlines that operate the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, there is the first, All Nippon Airways. It was ANA who became the first operator of the Dreamliner over a decade ago, which would become the backbone of its fleet. For ANA, it's a versatile aircraft you can find across its network, whether within Japan, intra-Asia, and also on long-haul routes. If you happen to be flying with ANA to Tokyo, no matter if it's to Haneda or Narita, there's a good chance that you'll be flying on board on one of their Dreamliners. While I've made it no secret that the 787 is my personal favorite aircraft, I also recognize as an aircraft it's just part of the overall flight experience. Each airline provides their own unique experience with interiors and in-flight services, and that said, on this edition of Travels with Flights in Asia, I'll be featuring the flight experience on board one of ANA's 787s on a recent flight from Tokyo Narita to Manila. Konnichiwa, and welcome to Narita Airport Terminal 1, where I have just arrived from another ANA flight which I'll be featuring on a future flight report. For now, it will be a special surprise. We just happened to arrive at the start of the peak time at Terminal 1 with various flights by ANA, United, and Air Canada all arriving at the same time. Soon, more fellow travelers, including those departing from Japan, would be at the terminal to catch their evening departures to destinations in Asia or North America. This includes our flight today, which is ANA's daily departure from Narita to Manila, operating as NH819. This flight departs from Narita as the sun sets and arrives later in the evening. On this flight, ANA typically uses its smallest 787 variant, the 787-8, on this short 4-hour hop. Between Tokyo and Manila, it is one of the two daily flights operated by ANA, the other being from Haneda, which also uses 787 aircraft. Compared to the Haneda-Manila flights, the Narita-Manila service are timed for connections between ANA's and United's flights to North America, as would the other airlines' flights from Asia. My previous flight was parked at the eastern half of the south wing of Terminal 1, and after checking in with the ANA transfer desk, I was directed to the gate across the tarmac for the flight to Manila. There's two ways to go about this trip. The first, to walk the long, normal path on the concourse. Or if you're feeling more adventurous, you can take an underground walkway cutting through the tarmac. Regardless, the trip is kind of a long one. If you happen to choose to take the underground path like I did, once back above ground level, you'll notice the great views of the airside throughout the terminal, where you can see some of the arriving aircraft, including various ANA and United aircraft, a familiar sight for those who have traveled through the south wing at Terminal 1. This includes the aircraft at our gate, which you can get a look at our 10-year-old 787 parked at the gate, which will be taking us to Manila this evening. While waiting for our boarding call, we are joined by more passengers coming in, some of whom have arrived from other connecting flights. And before long, boarding would commence as scheduled. For those who have never flown at ANA, the boarding groups are based on whether you are sitting on the window or aisle. Once inside, you'll notice a rather dated interior on board this 787-8. ANA is currently in the process of retrofitting its interiors of the 787s, but for now this will do, as while it's dated, it's actually a clean cabin. It's not necessarily the greatest interior on board an aircraft, but for a short flight, it is serviceable. On board, you'll find the typical 333 configuration in economy class, and along with the automatic window shade button, which you'll find on 787s, something I would question the use of, as this is a night flight for this case. If you are looking more into the details of the seat, one particular feature will be the leather on the headrest, something that is different compared to other airlines. After that, most of the other stuff are pretty common, such as the personal screen, which will feature ANA's in-flight entertainment system, which I'll be getting to later, and the remote control to access the in-flight entertainment system. You'll find a tray table with a cup holder, and on the overhead, you'll find the light and air vent, something you don't really see on the newer wide bodies. Earphones are provided, a bit old. Overhead, okay, but not really comfortable. Personally, I'm more of an earbuds person. A blanket is provided, and while there is no pillows found upon boarding the aircraft, a flight attendant will come around to pass around the fluffy blue pillows that ANA has. Boarding was efficient and completed, and we set out for an on-time departure, pushing back from the gate on time. As we were pushing back, ANA featured its Pokemon safety video, along with other good videos highlighting some reminders of safety tips and guidelines. All these videos were straightforward to the point, something I would recommend other airlines adopt. As we were pushing back, the sun had already fully set and it was already dark outside as we taxied our way for a departure from Narita Airport during this busy evening. Meanwhile, I found it odd that the lights were kept on throughout the departure, which just messed up the footage of the takeoff. After our departure, I began to explore the ANA's in-flight entertainment system on board this aircraft, which you can access the movies, TV shows, audio, and ebooks as with most other flights on the system. The content is updated, but the user interface, I would say it wasn't really easy to use, and the remote was not that responsive. The screen also included in this criticism, but I would say it's still better to use than the remote. As for those who are wondering if there's in-flight Wi-Fi, ANA is also currently in the process of installing that in their aircraft, and on this flight, it's accessible, though it's free for those just in business class. Those like us in economy will have to pay for it, except for if you're planning to just use the texting services. Overall, ANA does provide a good catalog of content for you to enjoy on board, though you do need to keep in mind that some of the videos and ebooks are in Japanese, as this is a Japan-based airline and there is no English version. That's not much of a problem, as you'll find something to enjoy and watch during this 4-hour hop. While the seats and cabin are a bit dated, the flight attendants made it up with an overall great experience. And soon it would be the time for dinner service, which will be the only meal that we will have on this flight. Prior to the serving of the dinner, wet wipes were provided. While I assume ANA assures that their flight attendants do have proficiency in English, it's actually good that they also do provide cards showing the meal options on the flights, which helps make the flight attendant and passenger communication a lot easier. On this flight, the option shown was the chicken and eggs over steamed rice or the hashed beef stew in red wine. In this case, I selected the beef and it did come with some pasta, along with the usual dinner roll, crackers, and a dessert I'm not too familiar with, and some salad. The pasta was unimpressive, but the beef being delicious and tender made up for it. The meals are served with chopsticks and steel cutlery featuring a small spoon. Smaller than what you'll find on most other airlines, and you'll see why. After finishing up my dinner and drinking up my apple juice, the small spoon would come in handy to eat ice cream that we would be getting later on from the flight attendants. On many flights, there can be a lack of in-flight entertainment options or technology that's available for you to use, but the overall experience can be made up with a great meal service, and this flight serves an example. After the meal service, it's pretty much a short flight, and the lights were dimmed until an hour out of Manila, which was a bumpy ride coming in, and another odd experience of seeing the lights being kept on during the landing, which again messed up the footage of the final approach and landing in Manila. Overall, it was a good experience, not much to complain about. While the interiors are a bit dated, the in-flight service does make up for it. If you're just traveling between Tokyo and Manila and don't care about price or flying on a full-service airline like ANA, there are good budget airline options which will suffice. These flights are a bit more costly, but will be great if you are connecting via Tokyo to a destination in North America like I did. I would say that's the best way to book these flights unless you really do want to fly ANA from Manila or any point in Southeast Asia to and from Tokyo, and if you don't mind spending more. Another route to book these flights is because of the ANA United joint venture. You can book these flights on either website, especially on United for connections to and from Asia and North America. I'm sure you can also book these seats on flights connecting from Canada with Air Canada, another Star Alliance partner of United and ANA. Usually the connections, such as mine in this case, were between 2 to 3 hours. Not too long, but just enough time to explore around the terminal, and if you are feeling it, enjoy some ramen or curry in between flights. As for the flight experience, I won't say it's the greatest experience on board a 787 or any airline flight, though it will be different on the newer 787s and the aircraft that they will be retrofitting. Still, it's a decent entry for ANA in my series of flight reports on this channel. There will be another ANA flight I will be featuring, which was the one that I took before this flight. It will be a very special flight report, which I can already say was a far better experience, so stay tuned for that. This is another edition of Travels with Flights in Asia. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.